Hello, truth seekers. Welcome back. Zach here. Today I want to talk about Jesus, religion, and why I do not partake. Recently, a user asked me if I believed in Jesus, and my response ended up getting flack from other users. Someone went on a little tirade about how I'm not in tune with Jesus, so everything I speak is demonic. And in this person writing this, it just reminded me of what I discovered or came to realize as a kid and why I shied away from Christianity and Christians. To me, it's just all divisive, just meant to divide us the same way nation does. Nation, religion, language, race, all the things we divide over. They're all synonymous to me. And so let's just begin with this discussion of Jesus by looking at the number of Jesus and tracing where this goes back to. All right, so using something called simple English gematria, that's where you decode where A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, all the way up to Z, where Z is the 26th letter, so Z is 26. Notice that the words simple, English, and gematria all sum to 74. 74, a very important number in this nation. Of course, our birthday in the United States is the 4th of July, the 4th day of the 7th month, 4th day. In this study, the word Jewish is 74. It said that Jesus was Jewish. Jesus sums to 74. It said that Jesus was crucified on the cross. Cross sums to 74. As does the word Lucifer, which comes from the King James Bible. As does the word occult. As does the word Messiah. There's more. Of course, Jesus comes from the Bible. The printed Bible, as we're aware of, has roots in the Gutenberg Bible, the first published Bible, once known as the 42-line Bible. What do we know about the number 42, truth seeker? The words war, sin, gun sum to 42. And everywhere Christianity's gone on this planet, so has the spread of war, sin, and gun. There's so many unnecessary wars on this world, largely started by Christianity. My girlfriend is from Burma, an Asian nation where Christianity was brought there after the world wars. Now it's a nation divided by war. Let's look at the gematria of Gutenberg Bible. Keep in mind that the Bible, most versions of the Bible are of 66 books, 39 Old Testament, 27 New Testament, both interesting numbers in themselves. The gematria of Gutenberg Bible using Pythagorean gematria sums to 66. 66 books. The word 33, when you write it out and sum it, also sums to 66. I say this because the first book in the Bible is Genesis, which has a gematria of 33, just to show this relationship between the numbers. You just think about in history, Doomsday is said to have been June 6th in World War II, 6-6. Doomsday has a gematria of 33. If you use the S exception, it sums to 42, like the 42-line Bible. The person who financed the Gutenberg Bible is named Johann Fust. Fust is a name with 66 gematria. His whole name sums to 114. Today's date is January 14th. This number often has much to do with destruction, assassination. Imagine what it would be to put out a fake book and a fake religion and to persuade the world's masses with it. That's a form of destruction. That's a form of assassination. Johannes Gutenberg, who the book is named after, who's credited with writing it, putting it in the form it is, his name sums to 77, much like the word Christ, much like the name Knights of Templar, the original Freemasons. I also want to point out that the first published book was the Bible, look at the gematria of book with Pythagorean gematria. B is 2, O is the 15th letter, so 1 plus 5 becomes 6. Another O, 6, and then K is the 11th letter, 1 plus 11 becomes 2. So book is 2662. And this is interesting because, as we know, the word God sums to 26, and the word Mason sums to 62, who try to be a reflection of God, who try to make themselves God. And here it is right in book, 26 and 62. And you know, Truth Seeker, it seems to me that most people who've bought into the Bible and the message of Jesus have enslaved themselves. They've closed their mind off. They're living on tracks. The world's already decided for them. It's already told in the Bible. My sister's a perfect example of this. She's never read the Bible in her life, but she thinks just calling herself a Christian is enough. That's going to get her into heaven. Her life's all right. She says that I, because I do not believe, am destined for hell. And to me, it just makes me laugh, because my sister lives a gluttonous life, doesn't do anything nice for anyone, selfish, self-absorbed. I've been living a life of service. I've been working for slave wages. I've been helping out kids in need. And I don't do it because I want to be rewarded with heaven. I do it because it's the right thing to do. I just think we should live right. Some people think they can just believe in a book, believe in Jesus. That's all they need to do. Who told you that? Who told you that lie? Honestly, to me, that's just a stupid, ignorant way of living. This book set up that philosophy. That book set up this mindset. This book has empowered people to think that they're greater than all other things living. God gave man the world for man to use as he wants. Think about all the people who sit on their thumbs knowing this world's screwed up, waiting for Jesus to come save them. Instead of going out and making this world that they live in, that they know is a guarantee better, they sit around and pray to Jesus, wait for Jesus. It's disempowering. It's weakening. It's making people sheep. Think about all the sheep imagery in the Bible. Think of all the talk of flocks of sheep, which is what most Christians are. Sheepish people, opinionated people, judgmental people. It's so ironic that Jesus said, don't judge. The word judge, Truth Seeker, sums to 47. Just like Christian, the word Jesus sums to 74. The word jury is 74, Truth Seeker. So let's move on. It's not just coded into religion. It's even coded into, as we said, our nation's birthday is July 4th. It's even coded into our state names. Think about how Jesus is said to have been crucified on the cross at the age of 33. Oregon is the 33rd state. It is abbreviated OR. That's 15 plus 18. The abbreviation's 33. The simple English gematria of it is 74. Of the 50 states, only Oregon, the 33rd state, has a simple English gematria of 74. The English gematria is 6 times this, equals 444, and the Jewish gematria is 232. I'm going to show you why this is interesting, Truth Seeker. So notice how Oregon is the exact same as Jesus in simple gematria and English gematria. Check this out. The name Lucifer is just like Jesus. Remember, the name Lucifer comes from the King James Version of the Bible, the Freemason version. Or the most Masonic version, I should say. And notice how Lucifer's 323, Oregon was 232. Some connections here. The word Satan is 232, having this connection to Lucifer, and then this connection back to Oregon. My point in showing you this is you can see how well thought out these names and numbers are. They're not arbitrary, they're mathematical calculations. Most Satanist societies, if you look up their phone numbers, it begins with the number 33. It's true here in Washington State, the 42nd state as well. Satanist society is headquartered in the capital, Olympia. Also, Truth Seeker, when you think about religion, it's often brought into politics. And the the party that claims Jesus and Christianity more than any other is the Republican Party, who recently changed their symbol to something else with pentagrams. The word Republican has a gematria of 47, using Pythagorean gematria, just like the word Christian, just like it. And the Republicans came out of the Whig Party. In simple English gematria, Whig equals 47. So think about it. The Republican Party, which claims Christianity and Jesus, guess what? It has the exact same numbers. And when you think about the Republican Party, it's just disgusting. I don't know how honestly, True Seeker, realize I'm someone who says that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are two factions of the same thing. That said, the Republican Party is just filth, and I don't know how a single person supports them. Not one. And every religious person who thinks they support them because it's the right thing to do through Christianity, that's just further proof to me of how religion and Christianity makes idiots of people. The Republican Party has done nothing in my lifetime but contribute to the destruction of this country. Therefore what? Therefore, they're just for all things awful. They stand for greed, they stand for environmental destruction, they stand for lies and deception. You could say the Democrats do, and they do, but not on the level the Republicans do. The Republicans stand for nothing right. I can't point to a single thing that I've ever heard a Republican say that was even decent. Meanwhile, if I turn on C-SPAN and watch the House, I can see some Democrats who will get up and take the podium and say something that sounds reasonable to me. Yeah, it's probably a bunch of lip service, but my point is that within the Democratic Party, there's people that actually say sensible things. I've never heard a Republican say anything sensible in my life. Yeah, the making of the Christian right, a faction of misled Satanists, in my opinion. Self-worshippers, greedy. That's what Satanism's about. And that's what I've always thought Christianity was. A trick to get people to believe in Satanism, to follow the tenets of Satanism without even worshiping it. That's what I think Christianity really is. A trick from the Satanists. So again, here's Jesus on the cross. Special imagery. I want to get into how Jesus connects with Muhammad from the Quran. As we just said, the word Christian equals 47. Jesus is 74. In the Quran, it's book 47 that speaks of Muhammad. And of course, Muhammad also has the 74 gematria, just like Jesus, just like the other spellings of Jesus. Yeshua is 74. Joshua, the English translation of Jesus, is 74. Everyone who thinks this is a coincidence, I just have to laugh. You guys are just stubborn in mind. I'm sorry to say it that you haven't been able to see the truth, but the truth is your religion is a fraud. When I was 4 years old, my mother had to stop taking me to church. You guys want to see what I looked like when I was a little kid? This is me when I was 5. The year 1988. Back when I was a little kid, my mother had to take me out of church because I kept yelling out that the minister was a liar. I don't have memories of this, but my mom said it just got to be too embarrassing. I kept yelling out in the middle of church that he was a liar, and everybody kept giving my mom and me the worst looks. But you know what, Truth Seeker? I think it's because I was born with truth in my body. You know, I've always been out for truth, and I don't mean to mislead anyone. But I'm quite certain this whole Christianity Jesus thing is a big spectacle, meant to divide and mislead us. Where else do these numbers come from, Truth Seeker? Perhaps there was a Jesus, but maybe his name wasn't really Jesus. And perhaps he wouldn't care about any of this stuff that Christians think they have to be so obsessed with. You know, saying that Jesus died for our sins. Jesus was the Son of God. It's funny how this is so important to Christians, but almost nothing else is. You know, I don't know many Christians that do anything for anybody else. Seems like all they're obsessed with is believing. Believing, believing, believing. You know? To me, it's just arrogance. How can anybody say their religion's right and everybody else's is wrong? Who's that confident? For those of you who pray to Jesus and think Jesus has answered you, my answer to you is maybe God has answered you because he knows you're praying for the right reasons. You know, that's what I think the truth is. I think God watches us and he sees who is doing right in this world. And that's who he protects. And that's who he sees as worthy. Not who fights over who the Son of God was. That's just meant to divide and polarize, which is exactly what it does. A lot of you guys are friends and fans of Enter the Stars. Him and I get along, but recently I was just questioning him on something, and he went into an attack against me because I don't believe in Jesus. You know, he's a major skeptic, and maybe I'm like a demonic entity here to take him off his path. It's just, that's what it does. It makes you into that mentality of you're either with us or against us. And it shouldn't be like that over Jesus and Christianity. There's no reason. What do you guys think? You think all the Native Americans who once lived on this continent in peace with themselves and the earth are all in hell because they didn't believe in Jesus? Meanwhile, the people who brought the message of Jesus over here started a genocide. Yeah, there's your Jesus. Look at this, you guys. These numbers, 74, 33, they're the numbers of destruction. What we're looking at here is the Saffir-Simpson scale. It's the scale that qualifies for hurricane speeds. The qualifying wind speeds for a hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane, are 33 meters per second or 74 miles per hour. You think it's a coincidence? No. Let's go to the periodic table. Arsenic is the 33rd element, used to poison and kill people all through history, even still today. Yesterday, a story came out that somebody tried to poison John Boehner. Look at the atomic weight of arsenic, 74. The Pythagorean gematria of arsenic is 33, Truth Seeker. This stuff is not a coincidence. The 33rd state's the only one with a 74 name. The periodic table, it's just, hurricane scale and more, Truth Seeker. Here's your Jesus. In movies, going back, the KV virus in Omega Man, remade as I Am Legend, wipes out and destroys humanity. K plus V is 11 plus 22 equals 33. Omega Man, the first movie, sums to 33 with Pythagorean gematria. The producer has a 33 name. And this KV virus is called the Crippen virus. Crippen virus sums to 74. So from science to the movies to your states to your religion, the same numbers. And who is doing this? The Freemasons, who worship who? Satan. Satan, Satan, Satan. 96 equals Freemason. 96 equals Satanism. The Freemasons believe in the supreme being. Who is that? I'm quite certain it's Satan. More of this stuff, Truth Seeker. You remember the MH17 crash from earlier this year? They did a 74 hearse tribute, and I guarantee you it wasn't for Jesus. It wasn't for Jesus. Truth Seeker, all this stuff comes back to what you believe. What do you believe in? Believe. Would you believe that the word believe has a Pythagorean gematria of 33? Hope equals 44, like kill. Faith equals 44, like kill. Karma equals 44, like kill. And all of these words also sum to 26. Hope, faith, and karma also equal 26, the God number. But believe, 33, what do you believe in? When we talk about believe, a lot of times people will start thinking, I believe I deserve. I believe I should be rewarded. I believe this person should be punished. You know, all this concept of believe, deserve, reward, punish, these are all concepts by man. And they're all 33 words. Believe, deserve, reward, punish, blame. Blame's another 33 word in simple English gematria. You know, Truth Seeker, we have 33 vertebrae in our back. People, person, society, order, all these words equal 33. How often do you use these words? When we talk about Christianity, so many people want to be rewarded by going to heaven. They don't want to be punished by going to hell. So they believe in what they're told. But who originally told all this? You know, that's what I've always found interesting, how passionate people get about their religion and how certain they become. You know, like Casey at Enter the Stars often says what he is saying is fact when he's talking about religion, such as saying that Jesus was crucified at 40. He was conceived on December 21st. He starts saying this stuff is fact. And it's because the power of believing. The things we believe in, sometimes we start to think are facts. And you know what, Truth Seeker? Everything I'm saying, I could be wrong about. I'll always admit that. I believe that everything I believe might be wrong. I'm not someone who has anything in concrete. You know what? I take that back. The only rule that I have in concrete is be good. Be good to people even if they're bad to you. Recently, I was robbed by my neighbor. He came across my house and stole a bunch. Since then, he's gone on to taunt me. He's used the money he stole from my home to buy the exact same vehicle as me. And I'm not a flashy person. It's a nice truck, but it's not a flashy truck. Since then, he's gone on and he's he's bought this truck 2 days before Christmas with my money that he stole. Since then, he's put on 2 different sets of wheels on this truck. I've never owned wheels in my life. You know, that's not me. I don't go out and buy material flashy stuff. I use my money to help other people. That's what I do. I believe we're here to help other people. We're here to help this world. We're given an opportunity when we were born to bring something right back into this world. I do believe in heaven and hell, but I think heaven and hell is here on earth. Right now we're living in hell, a man-made hell. Why? Because we haven't done what's necessary to turn it back into heaven. This earth could be heaven. It's a beautiful earth. If you've ever come out to the Pacific Northwest where I live, you'll see some of the most beautiful terrain you've ever seen. I live on top of a hill where if I look west to the Puget Sound, I see a beautiful set of mountains. And if I look east, I see another beautiful set of mountains. It's awe-inspiring. It makes me happy. I realize I could live in this same beautiful world with community and happiness and time to spend with loved ones, but I can't as much as I'd like to, and neither can most of you, because we live in this man-made hell where we're forced to go through all these hoops we don't need to be going through. And instead of collectively working together and forming community, we're dividing over unnecessary things and contributing to this hell. And Christianity and the story of Jesus, sadly, is part of this hell. If you think that's wrong, it's just because you're ignorant. Go back to the example I said of my girlfriend in Burma, a war-torn nation over what? Religion. And it's not the first, it's a long line of them. And it's not even the only one right now. These words, these numbers, Truth Seeker, they tell the tale. When I started this research, I was out for truth. And I didn't start by going to religion, but I found that the numbers tied in with religion perfectly, with this Masonic code that's waged against us every day. And now here it is for everyone to see. Look at the words we're using. Look at the things we're thinking and believing. You know, I think being good to God, being good to your fellow man, being good to yourself, I think that's what it's about. Believing that Jesus was the Son of God who died to save our sins for the sake of getting into heaven so that you can be saved. That sounds like some crap written by men who rule through fear and lies. Ask yourself, why would God be so petty? Out of all the things he could have us do on this world, that's the most important thing? That's nonsensical. It's nonsensical, Truth Seeker. That's my message. Remember all this stuff, Truth Seeker. These are important numbers. The Church of Satan was established in 1966 in San Francisco. It's now located in New York in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood. Remember the Old Testament's of 39 books? Remember how central the number 39 is to New York. A lot of occult religions have a Pythagorean gematria of 39. All right, Truth Seeker. I just wanted to put my thoughts out there on Jesus, Christianity, his followers, and all the people who write the stuffs, just their arrogant message. Because you're not a believer, you're going to go to hell. Your message isn't worth anything. I think these people got it all backwards. I think they got a surprise coming for them when they die. In my mind, Truth Seeker, if there really is a heaven, you know, I think I would get in there before a lot of believers of Christianity. Why? Because I've lived a good life. I've lived a life of sacrifice, service. I try to help out people every single day. I'm generous. The downside of this is I haven't done much for myself, Truth Seeker. I spent more time helping out other people in my lifetime than I've spent helping out myself. And when I got robbed recently by my neighbor, I was looking to help him out. And I never thought he'd rob me. There were some question marks about this guy, but this guy honestly, he goes to church every Sunday. He goes to church every Sunday, just like a lot of frauds. There's all sorts of people that are in church buildings that don't give a shit about Jesus. That don't give a shit about anyone but themselves, such as my neighbor, a sociopath who goes to church to hide behind the religion. That's what so many people in this world do. And I suspect the people who set up religion once upon a time were these same types of people. The deceivers, the cons, the frauds. They did this to do what they've done to us. We're a world that's ruled by religion, state, government. They're synonymous. They're one and the same. All right. Until next time, Truth Seeker.